Up for Discussion Live. Hosted by Jeff Sylvia and Shannon Sylvia. Bringing you the hottest topics, the coolest guests, and a live chat, so you can be part of it all. Up for Discussion Live starts now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the program where anything is up for discussion. You got me, Jeff, and tonight is absolutely no exception to that. Unfortunately, we do not have the lovely Shannon tonight. Shannon is under the weather. I think it's severe stress myself. She's going to hopefully hang in the chat room a little bit, but non-functioning tonight. We want to wish her well and definitely want to get her back as soon as possible. But I do want to, first of all, brag on her just a little bit, because this was the sign this week that was up at Shancakes. And of course, this has to do with everything going on in the world today, and the whole issue about do you have a right to refuse business to people that are not, perfect, not gay, not straight, not carrying a gun, not doing anything they shouldn't be doing. I guess I think it's absolutely stupid, and I've got to commend my wife for taking a huge stand on that. Not only is she smart and beautiful, but she also stands up for what she believes in, and I got to give her kudos. I want to know how you guys feel too. We put it out there for this week's public opinion, and we asked you, how did you feel about if a business is an American business with an American business license to do business in an American town or city? Do they have the right to know your sexual preference? Have a right to determine whether you can spend money in that particular establishment or not? My feeling is you got the green money, you walk in, that's what they're there for to begin with. Your sexual preference or your color, your creed, or anything like that shouldn't matter one damn bit. So thank you to my wife for standing up for what's right, as she always does. So tonight, guys, I'm going to need your help. I'm going to need you guys to call in. We're going to put the number up here early and often. It's 323-902-6661. And you can call in anytime during the show. We've got a lot to get through tonight. And first of all, before we do that, we want to thank our friends over there at LATV, Carl and Tina, Jack, Jane, and Robert, right down the line there. All you guys are a huge help, and I certainly appreciate everything you do over there at the network. And everybody at the mothership, ptvonline.com, is where you can find us now at our new home. We're kind of growing and getting into more exciting things and avenues, so that's where you can find us as well. Of course, you can find us always at upfordiscussionlive.com. So, big show for you guys tonight. Later in the show, we've got a very special guest. We're going to be calling Stuttering John from the Howard Stern Show. He is live and uncensored, and we're going to hear what he has to say. And you guys can always call in, be part of that show. Of course, call us at 323-902-6661. Breaking news today. Unfortunately, it's sad breaking news. And Percy Sledge, the guy who sang "A Man Loves a Woman When a Man Loves a Woman," died at 74 years old today. And a legend, soul legend, and musical legend indeed, and a song that we'll all remember. I'm sure played at many, many weddings, and many girlfriends and boyfriends hooked up during that song. So I want to give you guys that breaking news today. Percy Sledge, dead at the age of 74. And we want to definitely say hi to our sponsors who contribute a ton to the show and support us here. We couldn't do what we do without them. Leominster Storage Solutions down there on Central Street in Leominster. To find out more, you can call them at 978-466-8887 or visit them online at leominsterstorage.com. Also, our friends over there at Mariano's over there in Pepperell. You can call them at 433-6633 or visit them at marianositalian.com. And not for nothing, folks, that is the place to go if you don't want to drive to Boston. I will tell you, they have authentic Italian. They have brick oven pizza, the stuff that you see tossed. They have two guys tossing it back and forth. It's a sideshow. It's a lot of fun. You can sit at the bar and get just as great a view as you can sitting in the stands, if you will. So visit our friends over there at Mariano's and tell them we sent you. Also visit, speaking of great pizza, our folks over there at Village Pizza up in North Leominster at King's Corner. You can call them for authentic, true Italian pizza at 343 888-866-7722. And, of course, nothing is complete without your morning coffee. Start your day with Sasquatch Coffee and find out more about them. You can visit them online at sasquatchcoffee.com. Wow, guys. We want you guys definitely to be part of what we're doing. We're going to have you guys call in and say hi to Stuttering John here in a little bit. But first, before we do any of that, I want to say a very happy 70th birthday to my dad, who's been a great role model to me for many, many years. We did a little celebrating over the weekend and a huge, huge happy birthday to my dad. Of course, it's baseball season. It's Red Sox season. We've gone from worst to first to worst again. So who knows what's going to happen this year. But they're off to a good start, and they brought the good weather with them. It hasn't dipped too low in the temperature since they've been here. So we're excited to have the baseball guys back and having a good time there as well. Guys, we're going to step out. When we come back, we're going to give Stuttering John a call and see what's going on. Stick around. You're watching Up for Discussion Live.com.
Up for Discussion Live is brought to you in part by Lemonster Storage Solutions, Mariano's Restaurante, Sasquatch Coffee, and Village Pizza.
Ay, 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 ay. I am the Frito Bandido. I like Fritos corn chips. I love them, I do. I want Fritos corn chips. I'll get them from you.
Hey, how about a nice Hawaiian punch?
Sure.
How many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop?
Let's find out. 1, 2, 3.
How many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop? The world may never know.
Some people have a deep, abiding respect for the natural beauty that was once this country. And some people don't. People start pollution. People can stop it.
Mamma mia!
And now, back to Up for Discussion, right here on Para-Rock TV.
All right, welcome back to the program where anything is up for discussion, live with me, Jeff, and only Jeff. Unfortunately, the lovely Shannon today is a little bit under the weather, so I'm flying solo, which is never a good idea when you need a co-pilot like I do. But before this thing goes any further off the rails, we're going to make a phone call. That phone call is going to be to Stuttering John from the Howard Stern Show. Let's see if we can get him on the line right now. Before this thing goes any further off the rails, we're going to make a phone call. That phone call is going to be to Stuttering John from the Howard Stern Show. Let's see if we can get him on the line right now.
Hello.
Hey, John.
How you doing, man?
Good, good. You're on live with Jeff on Up for Discussion. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Unfortunately, the lovely Shannon just bailed on us. I don't know what the deal was, but she is feeling a little bit under the weather. We're going to keep a close eye on her, and if she requires any medical attention, we're going to bail out early. So thanks for hanging with me, buddy.
Oh my God, what happened?
Well, I'm not sure. Not sure. I think it's stress, to be honest with you. She's feeling the squeeze lately, and she's really doing a lot for one person. She's burning both ends of the candle, and I call her the machine because she just never ever stops. And one of these times it's going to catch up to you, And I just told her she didn't look good. She's getting kind of funky colors we don't like to see. So we just kind of let her settle in a little bit, and we're going to keep our fingers crossed and hope for the best.
Maybe because she's stuttering Puerto Ricans, and she knew I was coming on.
Yeah, I think she's the one that set this up, so I think she's going to be pissed off she missed it, man.
Well, I hope you feel better, Shannon.
She is listening, and I know she will. But man, thanks for joining me. I know you got a lot going on. You got a show going on tonight, and we kind of hung out over there. Now you had been we hung out in L.A. You'd gone from New York to L.A. and now I think you're living in L.A. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm living in L.A., but I wouldn't mind coming back to New York. You know, I mean, it's been quite a while. I've been out in L.A. for over 10 years now, and you know, my family's still in New York. You know, the food, the freaking Yankees, the Giants. I mean, you know, so like for me, it wouldn't be so bad. You know, I've been out here quite a long time. I mean, the best part about it being out in LA for me is you know, to ride the Harley.
Of course, 12 months out of the year, you never get to put it away. It's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, I wouldn't mind coming back to the East Coast. You know.
You'd mentioned the Yankees, and of course, baseball just got started. And me being from Boston, big Red Sox fan up here, huge rivalry, of course. Longest freaking game in franchise history. Did you stay up for that one?
Which one?
The one where they just went 19 innings. It was like the first time they met all season. They just went 19 innings. It was the longest game in Red Sox history at Yankee Stadium.
Oh wow!
And
who won?
Well, Red Sox won 5-4, I think, in 19 innings.
Damn it!
But,
what a waste of innings.
Well, you know how it goes, man. We beat you guys up in the early season, then you come back to kick our ass so we keep us out of the playoffs. It's the way it's always been.
Oh, you know what's so funny to me, and I'm just no disrespect to any Red Sox fan, because I had my best shows at the Comedy Connection with Faneuil Hall, and got to hang out with a lot of a lot of the Boston people, and they're a great bunch of people. But I just find it so like irritating now, because I mean, everybody would have liked to see the Red Sox finally win and get over the the curse of the babe and all that. It's just like I would love to see the Cubbies win just because get over the curse of the goat.
Yeah, they do.
Then the Red Sox win a few times, and now like I'm on like social media, and they're talking as if they just won 30 World Series. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, dudes, calm down, okay? Okay, you won a few. All right.
Yeah. In our defense, I think the Patriots have something to do with that, because the phrase "title town" seems to be thrown around a little bit here. When you got Tom Brady winning 4, and then the Red Sox chipping a few, and the Bruins get lucky with a couple, and hey, now we get the scrappy Celtics as well. So I think the Pats have a lot to do with it. But man, when you're waving up 29-30 like the Yankees have, man, there's no comparison. I've always felt they were my own kid is a Yankees fan. I always thought he was some good stock until I found out he's a damn Yankees fan. I couldn't believe it.
Well, I will tell you that I do take a certain amount of pride in that the New York Football Giants, the ones to stop Tom Brady and the New England Patriots' undefeated season.
Oh, that was like the worst emotions. And then, of course, we're going through that again. We're just going through the same thing again with Seattle when the kid caught it on almost the goal line. He's juggling. We're sitting there going, here we go again. New York Giants all over again.
We saw the look in Brady's face. He's like, again, because also don't forget the Mario Manningham catch.
Oh, yeah.
And that was another one, and Brady must be like, you saw it in his face, like, what the hell do I got to do here? But then that karma came back, and came in their favor finally.
Well, he owes Malcolm Butler his life, his career, and probably a night with Giselle, as far as I'm concerned.
You know what? I would just take the night with Giselle.
I know. Now, speaking of which, man, we were having a couple wobbly pops here at on St. Patty's Day. How are things going with the ladies? You and I were talking a little bit about what you got going on, and how are things going for you, buddy?
I'm doing fine. I mean, thank God for Match.com and Tinder and all these things. I mean, they're the best. I mean, obviously I went through a divorce, and that was tough. And I wouldn't. I think the only thing harder than divorce is actually marriage, but sorry, I'm kidding.
Well,
it is hard, and it was really tough. And then finally, I was telling my friend this because he was going through a tough time with a relationship, and as soon as this is why I really feel bad for those people who can't get through it and they decide to kill themselves, because look, there was a time where I was so low, and I was like crying every day, and it was just bad. And not, because at first when we got divorced, I wanted it just as bad as she did, and then I went out and started dating, and I was having a good time. But then a year and it sunk in. I was like, maybe I missed this girl,
Yeah.
And then for a year it was just hard. I mean, there was a time there was a chance we'd get back together, and then it didn't work out. I mean, and like I was crying every day. But then suddenly, like anything, and I try and tell any of my friends this, whoever going through with any like bad relationship or divorce, time will heal all wounds, and it actually does. And now I'm having the time of my life. I mean, it's great not to have to answer to anybody. It's great to have to, I'm in Vegas and anything could happen. And, a girl from Tinder is going to come out here and, is going to fly in and, that I've kind of, seen a couple of times. So, it is kind of fun now. You get to like live that second, single life, and so, I'm enjoying it, man.
And not for nothing, man. I mean, I've got a lovely wife. I'm not trying to hit on you or anything, but you look great, man. You lost a ton of weight. I mean, you got the hair. You still got hair. I mean, geez, you're my age and you got a ton of hair. I mean, you lost a ton of weight. You look great, man. What are you doing to stay in shape?
Well, it's funny. Like just right after I get off the phone with you, I'm going to go down to the gym. I'll work out for an hour. I try and work out like 5 times a week. I have to offset the alcohol content, I wish I was lying, but I mean, I think I might have had 15 to 20 beers last night. That's 1,500 calories, so I got to get down there and burn some of them off. But I like to keep this as best shape as I can. I mean, I'm fighting the genetics. My whole family is built like barrels. My mom and dad, they're all barrel shaped on top and skinny little legs. So our family photo looks like Donkey Kong.
And genetics don't work well either, especially when you're Portuguese. We love to eat. My wife owns a bakery. That's not winning. There's nothing working for me there at all.
I love bakery. It's the best.
If I walk through that place without eating 4 things, that's like a moral victory to me, because she's got cannolis and pastries and all kinds of crazy stuff that it's like you can't get anywhere but from here to Boston and the North End, and there's like no place in between. So, man, I know what you mean. It's a struggle every day, and just to get some exercise. Does the weather help you out there? I know when it's like winter around here, it sucks. Nobody wants to do anything. It's got to be cooler out there.
Sure
being
it
able
does,
to get out,
I mean,
right?
I like to run. Well, I don't like to. That's a lie. I run. I hate every second of it, but I like when it's over. But at least I'm doing it where, it is kind of nice weather. And as long as you get out, now it's getting hot. So as long as you get out in the morning, you can get away with like 80 degrees. But if you sometimes I'll wait because I procrastinate because I hate running that much, and like I'll like sometimes run in like 110 degrees, whatever, and it's freaking bad.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, but I mean, look, you try and do. I try and eat less. I try and eat as little carbs as I can. But then there are those times where I just love to eat, some pizza, some spaghetti and meatballs.
Oh hell yeah!
I'm drawn to Italian food.
Well, my brother lives out there. He lives right in Los Feliz, and when you live in that area, it's all about like the time of day. There's a time of day to do stuff before it gets too hot. There's a time of day to like blow through traffic before you can't get anywhere anymore. So, man, I get that. You got to like plan everything during the right time of day. You just go out there and melt, right?
Oh yeah, no, it's true, man. I mean, but listen, I'm not complaining because I know the Northeast got hit with freaking winters,
horrendous.
And but the truth is, like for me, and I mean this sincerely, like I miss the snow. Like my kids, I wish I was in the snow. I loved the snow when I was a kid. I used to do something called skitching. Do you ever do that?
No, what the hell, skitching?
Skitching is when the snow would be all over the street, like me and my friends would like hide behind a bush by a stop sign, and the car would pull up to the stop sign, and we would sneak out, get behind the car, grab onto the bumper, and get on our feet and just like kind of street ski all the way down the block, holding onto the car.
All right, that's cool.
Yeah, we'd have so much fun, and then we would get so courageous. We would play games trying to kick each other off, and the best were the oil trucks because they had like the high, bumper, so you can grab onto that and and stand up. So it'd be like that, like water, skiing. It was great, or ice skiing. And then I'll tell you a funny story. I remember when I was a little kid, I had a corn on my toe. And I guess in those days, their barbaric way to get it off was like this, electrode kind of laser thing, and I would go like once a couple of days, and I try and get the corn off, and my foot was in bandage. I'm like a schmuck. This is my luck sometimes. I decide, so to go sketching anyway with the bandage, I put a bag and my boots. And there I am, me and my friends are chasing after, a strange car. I've never seen the car before. And right before I grab onto the bumper, my mom's in the back seat. She turns around and goes, "Johnny, get home, you corn." What are the odds that she's sitting in the back seat? It's so funny.
So is it one of those things where like they're burning it off and you can smell it, or are they scraping the damn thing?
Yeah, you can smell. It's like they kind of zap it. It was weird. I mean, in those days, just like the stuttering therapy, like their idea of stuttering therapy was to put like the 5 or 6 stutterers in junior high in a room, and then make each kid call and ask for the phone number, with information,
Oh boy.
And so we would call them. Now here's the problem: I stuttered on M's, so I had to ask for Melendez on Margaret Road in Massapequa. I mean, it was like
holy shit. I don't think most people can do that. Now you pull into any pub here in Boston at let's say 6 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. I don't think many people are going to accomplish that to begin with, but Jesus,
exactly. But yeah, I mean it's it was like it was awful. It was like the stuttering, like I said, the stuttering inquisition. Like every stutterer is there waiting their turn and just like scared crap. But they didn't know how to treat this stuff now. Like I mean now. I mentor a lot of stutterers, and I talk to them, and and give them the tips. And what's coincidentally, which is so crazy, is that I give them tips that I just learned on my own. Like either put a silent the or a vowel in front of words, or use replacement words, or sing certain words if you can't get them out.
Mm-hmm.
And then there I am. I'm watching the King's Speech, which was from 1920 or whatever.
Great movie.
And, what's that?
Great movie.
Yeah, and that guy was teaching him the same tricks, and I'm going, holy crap! They knew this 100 years ago, and no one decided to tell us. Yep. I mean, it's sad because if I would have known some of these tricks, it would have made high school and junior high a lot less traumatic. You know what I mean?
I can imagine. And there are a lot of famous singers. I think wasn't Roy Rogers or somebody famous? Which one?
Mel
Which famous?
And Carly Simon were
That's who it was.
stutterers.
That's who it was. And could sing like songbirds. I mean, there's something to be said for that.
Yeah, that's just like me doing the announce. I'm sorry for cutting you up. It's only because we're on the phone. It's hard to know when to stop and going. But it's just like when when I was doing the announce on the Tonight Show. People are like, how could you do the announce and they don't get it? It's like a song.
Yeah.
And you're singing and you're also doing it at a high volume. So it's the Tonight Show with Jay Leno featuring Kevin Eubanks and the Tonight Show there. So it's what I'm saying. It's like you're singing.
Very.
So there's
cool.
no way you're going to stutter, and I had to prove that to the Tonight Show before they hired me. I had to go into the booth with the executive producer, the head writer, and the line producer, and the engineer, and and they gave me various things to announce, and I had to show them that I could do it without stuttering.
Yeah. All right. We're getting some folks in the chat room that are asking, are you currently dating right now? Because they guess they want to know if this is serious, or are you available? What's your official status?
Just seeing I'm not serious with anybody right now. I mean, I'm just I'm seeing different girls, but I'm not in a relationship as of yet.
Okay. All right. So it's official. You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So
I am single.
You've done it all. I mean, you've been on just about every walk of life when it comes to TV and radio. What sticks out at you? I mean, what are you going to tell? I know you got kids, and I know how that is, and now I've got grandkids. We're about the same age. So, someday with your grandkids sitting on your lap and they want to hear, the legend of John Melendez, what are you going to tell them? What sticks out for you?
Well, thank God I don't have to. I just tell them to go on YouTube.
They're going to get it all before. They're going to show you right. They're going to pull up the cell phone.
It's funny because my daughter, who's 18 in college, like she ended up finding all that out on YouTube. I mean, like seeing all my interviews, So it's just, listen. It depends what they want to see. Do they want to hear about me writing for the Tonight Show and appearing in tons of bits with Jay and actually getting a joke on the White House, a video joke called the Drop-In, is what we call them, on the White House Correspondents' Dinner where Jay hosted and they cut to Obama and Obama's laughing. I mean, God, I mean, to me, that was like my shining moment. I mean, just to actually know that I made the president laugh. I mean, that's freaking cool, you know. So, I mean, at least for me, and so that, or maybe my first appearance on the Tonight Show, which went so well, and it was my dream to be a guest on the Tonight Show, and you know, could it be, you know, all the interviews with Howard and all the fun times that we had, and or maybe the boxing match with Crazy Candy, where I, you know, like I was a 3-1 underdog in Vegas and ended up like beating, you know, and beating a 6-2 Neanderthal and winning the fight unanimously. I mean, there's a lot of different milestones, but I guess the best one that I could say, and I guess the one that like I try and tell any of the stutterers that I speak to is like, look, I'm a stutterer. You know, I was abused as a kid. I got beaten up a lot, and you know, I had a bad stutter, and ultimately I became the announcer on the Tonight Show, which means anybody could do anything.
No shit, that's completely inspirational.
You know, miracles do come true, and that's really what I mean. I guess that's my best message I can tell anybody. I would tell my grandkids, you can do anything you want to do, because I'm living proof. Because you know, I mean, who would have thunk that stutter would be the announcer for the Tonight Show, you know? Tremendous
inspiration for everybody. I mean, you know, it's also about the little guy, you know, somebody that, you know, came from New York and made it on a show, and, you know, then took his act to somewhere else, and you know, there's a New England connection there, of course, with Jay Leno, and, you know, now you're in LA doing your thing, and it's very, very cool. You got the comedy thing going now. You're in Vegas. I think you're playing Harris tonight.
Yeah.
What's going on with you?
I'm out here for the whole week. I'm at the Harris Improv the whole week, and then next week I'm at the Tahoe Improv at Harvey's, and then in May I'll be in New York. I'll be in New York and Jersey and Philly. Just go on my website if you want to see where. I don't want to, but just, you know, I'm just, you know, StutteringJohnMelendez.com. On Twitter it's at Stuttering John M, because Twitter won't verify me. It just drives me crazy, because, you know, I've tried to get them to give me the verification, and they won't. And finally, they sent me like an email saying if I paid them $500, they would finally do it. And I was like, really? I'm going to pay you? And you know, meanwhile, there's somebody who's posts under the Stuttering John name. It's so wrong, and it's wrong on Twitter to not, you know. I don't want to sound like a crybaby, but it just does suck that somebody, you know, who's not Stuttering John is posting a Stuttering John. You know what I mean?
Oh, it sure does. I mean, and you know, it's all about like all the companies buying each other. They're all want to be proprietary now with different corporations. You know, like Google's swallowing everybody up, and YouTube's even a pain in the ass now, because our network, who's gotten a ton of hits, you know, we're a YouTube partner. All of a sudden, they want to start like making this regulation and that regulation, and next thing you know, you get to send off 12 emails to do the same thing you used to do last year. So, man, you know, it used to be like the Wild West and free and doing her thing, and, you know, you didn't have to worry about FCC and all that other shit. And now, you know, there's just little glimpses of it coming, and I hope it doesn't come to, you know, what we all hated and got away from in the first place. I mean, how do you feel about, like, being, like, you know, free and easy on the web and being able to go uncensored and talk about whatever you want versus, you know, let's call it the old days?
I like the internet. Like, I spend like way too much time on social media.
Oh, don't we all? We're all Facebook whores now. Let's just all admit it.
I'm on Facebook and I'm on Twitter, and I go to like the Dog Shed for a lot of Stern fans with the Stern fan networks. And it's weird. You know what's really weird about it? And you know, it's like I go on there, and you know, you get the really nice Stern fans who are very, you know, happy that you're there and are very complimentary, and you know, and you know, but then you get these guys or girls, because you don't know, because you know, they don't ever give their names, and they just feel compelled to trash you, and it's just, and I get it to an extent, because like, look, I used to do the interviews, but the interviews even to me weren't about just like going up and, you know, calling someone an a-hole. It was, you know, I mean, Jackie in the beginning, Jackie Howard and Fred constructed some really comical questions, and it wasn't, and to me it was never a hateful bit. I know it might have seemed that way, but I mean, that's why I always said, you know, big fan, that was my thing, and I always would try and shake their hands afterwards, because it was always, to me, it was more about just doing like an SNL skit than it was trying to be an a-hole. But I could understand that people would argue and they would win, because there were times where I did say horrible things, like I I asked, Andrew Dice Clay asked me to ask Liz Smith, why are you such a fat cow? Now, I asked that question and felt miserable afterwards. And then finally, the next time I saw where she was going to be, I asked Howard if I can go there and interview her, apologizing to her. And he allowed me, and he played the apology on the air because I felt so bad about it. But getting back to these internet things, it's like, I don't understand, like, the hatred. And the only thing I could ascertain is that, because Howard will say John's, an idiot or whatever he says when he's mad at me or whatever, they then take that as if it's their own gospel now, and they abide and if Howard says that I did this, they're going to believe it without checking to see the other side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's sometimes it's irritating. Like today, I was having a blast because they were just all trashing me, and I was just goofing. I always goof back and tell them how funny they are, and they have to stop at LMFAO. My sides are splitting. It's way too funny, But I mean, it's just weird. There's so much hate on the internet in general. You know what I mean? There's so many negative people that I'm sure anybody would tell you. I'm sure you see it.
Sure. I like to call it the fast forward society, where everybody just skips all the bullshit and there's a bunch of keyboard courage going on where, people just kind of, there's not a lot of filterage going on anymore, unfortunately. And people get hurt, My wife being on television, I remember when she would come home, she'd read the forums. She said, it's the worst thing I ever did was read the forums. I mean, here's this pretty girl out of Massachusetts. She's spunky, she's spiteful. They put her on the air, and people are calling her
very pretty.
Yeah, and I mean, people are calling her a pig-faced bovine in the forums, and she's just lost it. She's like, what the hell is wrong with these people? And this is her first introduction to the assholes that just don't give you a break no matter what, and they're freaks. I don't get it. You must deal with it all the time.
Yeah, and it's like even on the sites that I mentioned, I mean, there are guys who will, say that Howard's wife is not pretty, I'm being nice, because they use a much harsher terms. And it's like, Howard's wife is beautiful, and she's one of the sweetest ladies, and I just don't, I'm talking about Beth, and I just don't, I don't get it, and I mean, some of the things, they all go on there and say Howard, wears a wig. Now, I don't know. When I was there, I never noticed him wearing a wig. And if he wears a wig, is that the wig they're going to choose?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to ruin him.
I mean, so I don't get some of the stuff where it's just it just doesn't even seem close to being truthful. But I guess it's just gives them a place to hate. I don't know. I don't necessarily get it.
No, I'll never get it because like anything else. I mean, everything is progressive. You started out a different person on the show. Howard started out to be a different person on the show. Everybody grew and things progressed to what they were. But even under fire, even under all the scrutiny and stuff, that all dies down at some point. All the anger and stuff, you got to think about the good times and what became of it positively. How is it for you guys now? I mean, I'll just ask the question. Is there peace there, and what's going on?
No. I mean, unfortunately, I don't know exactly what happened. Oh, I do. I mean, and it's sad because I was at Howard's place in the Hamptons with my wife at the time, so it must have been over 5 years ago because we've been separated that long. And, it was me, my wife, him, and Beth. That's it. And we had a nice dinner, and we had a wonderful conversation. And it was really everything was cool again. And I guess I blew it, and that's fine. I could hear, Fred playing the dinner going, you blew it! But I guess I did, and it was not intentional. It was just that when I got to the Tonight Show, and when I was writing for the Tonight Show, there was a bunch of people who were claiming that Howard was saying that I was stealing a bunch of Howard's bits, which I would never do, And then one guy emailed me to my website saying that he wanted to rape my kids and kill my wife, which of course I would have chosen the latter. But anyway, they were really trashing me, and so I just wrote, "That's not true. Don't drink the Kool-Aid."
Right.
Meaning, if Howard's saying I'm stealing anything, I'm not. I would never do that. Now, I guess that guy cut and pasted that. He sent that to the show. Howard, and I don't know how I don't know if he sent it unedited, or he took, privilege, he sent it how he wanted it to look. I don't know, because who knows how he.
Yeah, in and out of context. I mean, you never know.
Yeah, it could have been really, out of context, but I don't know. But anyway, so Howard spent like an hour trashing me over this thing, and that was it. That was the last time. Now I'm persona non grata, and it's sad. I mean, I don't have any real hard feelings for Howard. I mean, yeah, was I unhappy with some of the ways that he treated me? Was I unhappy with some of the things he said to me? Of course. Did I leave sometimes in tears because of some of the horrible things he said? Yes. But were there great times? Yes. Am I grateful to him? Yes. Did he give me my start? Yes. If I saw him in the street, I'd give him a hug and say thanks again. So I don't have. I mean, I think underneath all the bravado and all the some of the crap that's spewed out of his mouth, there's a good guy in there.
Yeah.
So so for me, I don't have. I mean, I don't have any. I don't feel any animosity towards him. But it's just sad that one thing like that would end a relationship. It's not like, I went on a bunch of shows calling him an a-hole or saying horrible things about him and his family. Not at all. I mean, this is just me defending myself. People saying that, that I stole this chicken bit that Howard did, and I stole jaywalking and all these things. So I mean, but it just wasn't true. I wasn't even the writer that submitted the chicken bit that Howard was referring to. I didn't even remember. I mean, it was a different person who doesn't even listen to the Stern Show. And by the way, that guy, and I mean, it wasn't me. And and nor did I when I heard that we were doing the bit. I didn't even cross my mind because I didn't even remember that Howard had done that. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that's how innocent the whole thing was. But yet, now I'm persona non grata, and that's sad.
Well,
because I gave 15 years of my life to that show, and I mean, I took punches for that show.
Yeah, you sure did.
And but that's how Howard would rather have it. That's fine, and I wish him well. And I love his wife. I wish his wife well. And I mean, and that's it. I don't have any bad things to say about him.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a different thing when it's malicious intent. And it sounds to me like there was a whole bunch of misunderstandings going on, and there's a big difference in that, and when you guys are doing what you're doing at the level that you're doing it at, I don't care if you're a musician, actor, radio show host, whatever it is, there's a ton of passion that's built in behind that, and that can overflow and spill in so many different directions. It looked like creativity-wise, that you were growing, things were happening, and who knows? I think it's all for the better. We're all where we're supposed to be, and it looks like you're in a really good place right now.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, I had like I said, I had 15, years on the Stern Show, and I look back on it, and it was a lot of fun times, and just like the Tonight Show, I got to work with Jay Leno for 10 years, and honestly, that was an amazing experience as well. I mean, Jay, is a nice guy, and to be able to write jokes and write drop-ins, and then have Jay deliver them and laugh at them, and the audiences laugh at them. I mean, it was an amazing experience. I wrote a lot of cold opens, which are the little sketches, before the show starts. I would write a lot. I would write a lot with my partner John Kennedy, and we would write a lot of these cold opens. And I got to go down there, me and the segment, director, and literally I would be telling. I swear to God, this was true. I would be directing Quentin Tarantino about how we should perform in this cold open, and that is like. For me, a pinnacle in my career, but probably at the lowest point in his career.
Yeah. Something he probably's not talking about.
But he was so cool. I would just say, Quentin, we only have like 30 seconds. The guy just cut it shorter. He's like, okay, cool. I'll do it quicker. But I got to work with Jack Black. I did a couple of cold opens with Jack Black, Adam Sandler, David Spade, Sofia Vergara, Hugh Laurie. I mean, politicians. I mean, I got to be there and tell them how I wanted them to be and everything else. So, I mean, what an experience. I got to Charlie Sheen. I got to, I did like 2 or 3 cold opens with him, and him and I got so close, he invited me to a Super Bowl party, So,
nice.
Because I didn't know this, I don't know if you do, but Charlie Sheen is also a stutterer.
Oh, wow.
And,
I did not know that.
Yeah. And when I told him the story about me stuttering on M's, then he came back to me and said he had the same problem with R's, and I guess he had a brother named Ramon and a sister with an R, and he said it was just as hard as, for him to spit that stuff out. So it was very interesting. So him and I bonded, and plus we're both half Puerto Rican or whatever. So it was like, but, it was, but I got to work with all these talented, great people. So
amazing.
I mean, that was a great experience. So yes, I mean, I'm in a good place now. Unfortunately, the show's over. I just submitted a packet to Stephen Colbert, a writing packet. I got a writing packet over to Seth Meyers. We'll see what happens with that. And if not, I really enjoy doing stand-up, and I am I'm stuttering now. Right now, I am pursuing 2 things. One is getting back into radio, and I might have a few offers right now to do that. And the other is I am writing a book, and I have a book manager now who really thinks that she can get this published. So I mean, those are the 2 things that I'm concentrating on outside of stand-up. So hopefully, hopefully they will happen, and if they do, I will call you and do the show again so we can talk about it.
All right, awesome. I got 2 things for you. You're always invited to a Super Bowl party up here in New England. We're in most Super Bowls, by the way, so it's kind of a good time. And a little quote for your book about marriage. They say love is grand. Well, divorce is $100,000. So I'm sure we've all gone through
There's
that.
a better one. Yeah, I like that.
Oh, it hits its toll. It takes its toll on everybody. But man, it's like I've seen good people that just get destroyed by it. And anybody, I mean, what you've gone through, not only on the show, but with stuttering and being divorced, is just one little aspect. And people that survive that, are everyday heroes, because that's a nasty thing. It's not like it was in the old days. That system just takes you in, spits you out, and you fend for yourself from here on in, and it's a tough go all the way around.
I mean, obviously, thanks to my ex, who I still love. I mean, we'll always be good friends, and we handled it amicably. We just got a mediator. We didn't get attorneys. I mean, although a mediator is an attorney, but I just walked in there and I said, whatever's fair in California, that's what I want to do. I don't want to fight over anything. Just whatever's fair, whatever the percentage is, that's what I'm giving, and that's it. And part of the reason I did that is so the kids don't have to feel there's any problem with daddy and mommy. I want the kids, because I don't want it to affect the kids. It's hard enough for them to live in different homes.
Oh yeah.
I don't want anything else, because the kids are the most important thing to me. I mean, more than anything else in the world. And so I just wanted to be as comfortable and easy as it possibly can be. So, Suzanne and I would have Thanksgiving dinner together with the kids even after our separation. I mean, and just to make it appear as normal as possible. Easter egg hunts and Christmases, just so they felt that everything was okay, and mommy and daddy are still friends. They still love each other. They just would rather be apart at this time. You know what I mean? So, and that was the main thing, for me. And I hope that most people do it the same way, because I mean, the kids are the most important things, and the kids are the ones that should, we should make it as easy as we possibly can for them,
Well, you say that so nonchalant, but I mean, I'll tell you that is the exception and not the rule. And from personal experience, I said white, she said black. I said, okay, black, and she said, F you white, and just made it as incredibly difficult and as expensive and as, tumultuous as possible. And being on the other side of the spectrum, man, I got to tell you that by itself speaks volumes, and it's something that is as inspirational, to people as you being on the Tonight Show after conquering, something like stuttering. So, all those things put together are getting you places, and I'm sure the kids really, really, really appreciate that. I got to hear about Jay Leno's car collection, though. We've all heard about it. He's got a tremendous car collection. Did you get to see any of that while you were with him?
Oh yeah, I've been there a couple of times, and I
get to drive any of them at
there.
all, or jump in any of the rigs, or?
Oh, I didn't drive any, but I mean, believe me, they're all at museum quality. They take incredible care. He's got 3 hangars now. I think when I was there, it was 2. Now there are 3. I mean, just so many great cars. He's got like 100 cars and 200 motorcycles or something like that. And it is like walking into a museum. I mean, it's beautiful. And then Jay, of course, has a 6th grade. I love Jay. I did a lot of drop-ins again. These are the video jokes during the monologue about Jay's overeating. And anyone that you saw, like I had one that's head bigger than mine. I had all these things, but of course, in Jay's garage, right in the front when you walk in, he has like in the middle of the cement, floor of the garage or whatever that stuff that you put on the cement. Then there's this like wood section. That's right when you walk in, with a kitchen, full stove, and everything. I remember going there once, and Jay was just cooking up hamburgers. So, sometimes he spends Thanksgiving there. So,
really?
I mean, it's a great kitchen at his garage.
And it's epic. It's legendary, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, those are his babies, and, and he's very generous with that. Like, if you said, Jay, I have a friend in town, you think we can come by and see the garage? You'd be like, yeah, sure, yeah. And he's always cool about things like that. He's always has been. That's just who he is. But yeah, I remember I was in the hospital. I had a staph infection. I just got out, and Jay calls me up. I mean, Jay called me personally. It's not like, and he goes, "Hey, John, how you doing? I go, Jay, I just had the staph infection. I guess I got a germ in there or whatever." He goes, John, God, I've been telling you this all along. You got to bathe every once in a while. Well, he's a good guy. He's always on. He's funny as hell, and it was an honor to work with him. But I mean, anybody, who I'm sure who has met Jay knows like how nice he's. Like, I mean, last time I was in Vegas with Jay when we did the show from here, me, him, and Jack Cohen, one of his, actually was the head of monologue. So we're walking down the street because Jay doesn't want to take care. We walk down the street to go to Nathan's, believe it or not, because Jay loves freaking hot dogs, and then we get a slice of pizza on top of that.
Oh, yeah.
But as we're walking, he stops with every fan and takes a picture. Every single fan.
Very cool.
So, yeah, and that's who he is, So, I mean, anybody, like, that's why when people trash Jay or say, like bad things about Jay, I always feel bad, because the guy really, truly is a good guy.
I've always known that he's a real person. I mean, everything, he came from Boston and, of course, started in the local clubs here. So we saw him, expanding and blowing out, and we always knew him to be, like, right down there, super cool, identifies with the fans really well. And, that's the kind of people we love seeing make it out there. But I got to ask you something on what's going on in the world today. My wife, as you know, owns a bakery. And, the whole thing going on now is do you have a right to refuse service to people? Like, that whole thing about we have a right to refuse service if you're not wearing a shirt and shoes and shit like that.
Well, no, I already liked her post about she had something that said she'll serve to anybody, even if they're gay. Well, I don't know what it was. It was. I forget what the post was, but it was perfect. Yeah, I just don't, look. And it's not because I was pro-gay marriage ever since I was a little kid. I never understood why anybody would ever take happiness away from somebody else. And, now my oldest daughter is 18 and she's a lesbian. And, I couldn't be happier for her because I want her to be happy. I don't want, and she had no problem coming out to my wife and I because we were always, accepting and had a liberal view of that thing. So I don't get why any business would turn down, a gay couple. It makes it's like, what? I mean, they're going to be on the wrong side of history. I mean, it's the same thing when women weren't allowed to vote. Same thing when, when the African Americans had to get to the back of the bus. I mean, it's the same mentality.
It really is.
You are biased against a group of people for simply because their sexual orientation. It's no different than because of their sex, than because of their color, than because of their religious beliefs. You are being prejudiced because of their sexual orientation, and that is just as hateful as any of the ones that I listed, before. So
Sure.
I don't get it, and I applaud your wife. And I just think God, it's 2015.
That's right.
Can we stop the hate already, please?
And not for nothing, last thing I checked is that heterosexual marriages are failing miserably to begin with. It's like 50+% of heterosexual marriages are in the dumper.
Proof.
So me too. So I mean, I keep trying until I get it right. But I mean, who's to say what love is? And if it's not the formula that we've all come to know and now hate, I'm not for it either.
Well, the other way it also is, dude, I think people just don't understand it. It's like, my daughter just told me that she's transgender. I'm like, so what are you, an airline? Because I don't know what it is. But then she explains the whole thing, and then then it's like, okay, it's not easy at first because it's new and it's strange to you at first, but then you accept and you tolerate.
Mm-hmm.
Because you want everybody to live the life that they want to live, and with the least amount of of obstacles in their way.
Sure.
And like this, I don't know. I just don't get anybody having a business and saying they're anti-gay or whatever. It just disgusts the hell out of me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I sure do. And it's anybody as your daughter, as folks that come out. There's a huge level of courage that needs to be respected because, it's still not the norm, although it is moving in that direction, I think, where people are starting to identify and accept more than ever. But, man, it's still an uphill battle, and anybody that's in that position that comes out like that, I think carries a tremendous amount of courage that should be respected.
Yeah. Well, what's really the truth is the Pope even came out asking for tolerance and acceptance.
Yeah.
The Pope.
Yeah.
I mean, the Pope, your president.
The frickin'
Well,
Pope.
It's just it's beyond me because they're quoting all this comes from one passage in Leviticus who says no man shall lie with another man. I mean, I think in that same psalm or whatever you call it, there's something that says you can't eat shellfish.
Yep.
Well, okay,
Yep.
if you're gonna buy into the anti-gay thing, then don't eat shellfish.
Right.
But like the great Doug Stanhope used to say, is you can't have your Bible a la carte.
That's so true. And the problem I have is I was brought up Catholic. I was altar boy, all that stuff, and they changed half of the mass. When you go to mass now, all the words are changed around, and nothing says the same thing anymore, and everything's out of order, and it's all politically correct now in this fashion and that fashion. And I say that's horseshit. I mean, if they're going to do that, then like you said, it's Bible a la carte, and I mean, you scrap the whole thing at that point.
Well, yeah. Well, that's why I don't like, because think about everything else. All these people who it's against the Bible being gay, whatever. Okay, how many of them had premarital sex?
Yeah.
That's against the Bible.
Yeah.
How many have worn contraception? Because that's against the Bible.
Yeah.
I mean, how many have had an abortion? Because that's against the Bible. I mean, there's so many rules that they break on a regular basis.
Sure.
But yet, this is the one they're going to stick to?
Yeah, the same society that, allows adultery, but now it's no contest. You go to court, no contest. Everybody puts in their social security number, and the adultery thing just kind of gets swept away. But, there were days and times where that was a crime punishable by death. I mean, times have changed.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, hopefully, which I think you and I both agree that 20, 30 years from now, these people are going to be on the wrong side of history.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
they're going to look just as bad as those who were against letting women vote. I mean, it's the same thing.
Yes, it really is.
And listen, I believe in assimilation. I believe as soon as we all are the same,
Yep.
as soon as we all have sex with each other, blacks, whites, Jews, Catholics, whatever, Puerto Ricans will, screw anybody anyway. But as soon as we all assimilate and we're all the same, then we can't hate anybody anymore.
That's true. And if you're one of these UFO guys that believe in aliens and stuff, and I'm not on either side of the fence on this yet. I'm still kind of undecided. But you kind of look at it. It's like, what are you going to do when somebody from the moon comes down and it's all of us against them? You're going to care who's the guy standing next to you, whether he's gay or black or whatever. You're just going to want to, take care of business. But, I think you hit upon it earlier. It's incredibly short-sighted. And I just want to take a minute here as we wrap up to not only thank you for coming to my wife's aid and liking it and supporting, the good fight that she fights. She's not only standing up for the right thing, but she's not afraid, to speak her mind and tell everybody, she'll call bullshit if it needs to be called, and that's why I love her.
Well, good, man, and that's how I am, man. I'm freaking unfiltered.
Yeah, there you go. John Melendez has been our guest tonight. I want to thank you so much for joining us, and I know you got a lot going on. You're touring right now, doing the comedy thing. Where can folks find you coming up and through the summer?
Well, just like I said, I'm in Vegas this week at Harrah's Improv. I'm at the Tahoe Improv from the 22nd to 26th at Harvey's. Then on May 13th, 11 Live in West Nyack, New York. And then on the 14th, I'm at the Comedy Shop in Pompton Plains, New Jersey. And on the 16th, beautiful Philadelphia at the Comedy Cabaret. So come on down and see me, and thanks for having me on, pal. And I hope your wife feels better.
Yeah, thank you so much. Now, Nyack, New York, we got to talk about that one. I'll have to hit you on the side because I know we've discovered a mutual friend who used to be, I want to say, your next door neighbor, Mitch Silverstein from Nyack, and that's his hometown. He still lives there, so we got to catch up on him.
All right, man.
All right, buddy. Thanks so much for joining us. John Melendez has been our guest tonight, and certainly appreciate him taking the time. Thanks to all of you guys for taking the time. And if you miss any of the shows, you can catch us on our YouTube channel, which is the PTV Webcast Network. If you type that in the search bar, we usually come up on the top two if somebody isn't paying for a huge advertisement. And, of course, you can find us on Facebook.com/Up for Discussion Live. All of the archive shows are up there as well as the guests and some contests because we do like to give away stuff as well. Once again, we want to thank Stuttering John Melendez for joining us on the show tonight. And on behalf of my lovely co-host Shannon, who I hope is feeling better, I'm going to go check on her right now, everybody at LATV, and of course the crew here at Up for Discussion Live. Until next time, guys, good night.